In my experience growing up, there's been a significant value in conformity in my community. It was easy to lose sight of individualism and agency to fit in or avoid confrontation. As a result, my morals, beliefs, and biases have been influenced by those in my community and the voices of influences I have been exposed to during my formative years. On reflection, this has limited my personal growth. What I consider the opposite of conformity is activism. Activism is essential in fighting for your voice and having agency. Debatedly, we often prioritize conformity over individualism. Despite a cultural shift in Western media in the past century, where many young children grow up learning stories with the overarching moral focus being on individualism, we shun individuality in ourselves. I've often said that I've changed my beliefs in order to fit the status quo. My conformity and silence of my own voice are products of fear of confrontation and this desire to be accepted. I've dealt with a constant struggle of aiming to leave my comfort zone and express my individuality while feeling a pressure to conform. Conformity is a blanket that comforts and suppresses my individuality. An example of this is how I've altered my behaviors to make myself a less feminist version, to avoid confrontation with boys in my school or even male friends who make sexist remarks. By conforming to a more people-pleasing self, I normalize their sexist behavior, which goes against my own beliefs. In those situations, there's a reassurance in conformity, since speaking out is overwhelming in settings where the majority will not listen to your voice. The mind will ever be unstable, that only prejudices to rest on, and the current will run with destructive fury when there are no barriers to break its force. This quote from Mary Wollstonecraft's book, A Vindication of the Rights of Women, highlight the importance of critical thinking and rejecting conformity, especially when conforming to prejudices will allow the issue to go unchallenged. If we let prejudices and other people's opinions guide us and never speak out against them, we limit our ability to think critically. Tara Westover's memoir Educated explores themes of conformity and individualism. In Tara's early childhood, her voice was silenced by her parents' fundamentalist beliefs. When Tara grew up, she learned that she had her own agency and didn't need to conform. She understood that her voice and agency were as valuable as those who narrated her life to that point, her parents. Her experience impacted me with how Westover conveys that rejecting conformity is essential for your own personal growth. From her book, I learned that I must put value in my own voice, even when facing opposition. In activism, I felt a sense of community. It gives me a sense of agency and lets me feel comfortable using my voice, since I have other voices to guide me. I like researching and finding and voicing my views, however scary it can be. While I try and have an open mind on the beliefs I form, I don't let one voice influence me. I've internally conflicted on how activism for me has felt performative. For example, posting on social media. But does it being performative make it wrong? It can be a powerful tool for spreading awareness and giving people a voice. However, there should be an aim for tangible change, instead of just media awareness. When I participated in the climate change strike, it was the first time it felt like my voice could make a difference. It gave me a voice to fight for change in my future. Did I do the strike to fit in? While I believe climate change and will fight for awareness and change, a small part of me is so open on my views on it because not many people in my community will reject it. I'm still comfortable in my small act of individuality. Activism, like individualism, has been a theme in romantic work. An example of this is in Percy Shelley's The Masquerade of Anarchy. This work encourages people to fight against oppression and for their rights and the rights of others. Similarly, in romantic works, there is William Blake's The Chimney Sweeper, which rejects conformity and exploitation towards the working class in London and calls for a social revolution. While they were written during the Industrial Revolution, those works' themes are still relevant today. We live in a world where systematic oppression and social injustices still exist. Activism, while vastly different from conformity, can still be conforming to an ideology. There's a sacrifice of individualism and being part of an activist movement. It could be considered social conformity, and you may participate in activism not for the cause you believe in, but to just be accepted. In the past, I have prioritized conformity over individualism. Now, with activism, I've shifted my beliefs to have value in my voice. I've been influenced to reject conformity from Tara Westover's educated to romantic works such as The Chimney Sweeper, highlighting conformity and individualism and activism in their works.